All right, so with this question here, the question sentence, everybody, is the first thing that we're always going to do. So right here it reads, how far does the kayak travel? So everyone, when we read that, when we read how far specifically, what does that tell you we're discussing? What kind of unit do you think we're trying to find when we're asking how far something travels? Yeah, and if you need a little bit of a hint, if you check this out right over here on the answer choices, it says miles, 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 and miles. So that's going to be distance. Absolutely. So when we take a look here, boom, we are looking for distance. Now, if we go through to the information that we're given, so that first sentence there, what does that reveal? That says a kayak travels downstream with the current at 12 miles per hour for 3 hours. All right, everybody, I don't think I need to ask you this first one because I think we can all tell that 3 hours is going to be a time frame. So I don't think I have to, baby anyone there, but I do want to make sure that we understand. Let me just write down the time here as 3 hours. I do want to make sure that we understand how we know that 12 miles per hour is a rate. That's the main thing. We want to understand why we know miles per hour is a rate. Now, everybody, when I say that, what gives it away? What really, truly gives it away? Again, the 12 miles per hour, what gives away that that is a rate? The word per. That is correct. 12 miles per hour. So check this out. Before we decide to write anything down or move past this one point, let's think about this here. So 12 miles is a distance, hour is a time frame, but when you use the word per, what you're really saying is, hey, we're going 12 miles every hour per 1 hour. So this is a speed. This is not a distance by itself or a time by itself. It's speed. And speed is literally distance over time. How far you go in a certain amount of time. So before I continue, everybody, does that make sense to you personally, before we continue, that the word per is going to be a saving grace to identify the rate in a problem? Right on, right on. Perfect. So now let's go ahead and get into it here. Our formula, we know it. It's distance equals rate times time. And here's how we're going to finish this off. We're simply going to go ahead and plug in the rate and time, and that's it. The rate was 12. The time was 3 hours. 12 times 3 gives us 36 miles. And that's it. We're done. This is just a, again, brief little warm-up, but I want to make sure that we understand how to identify each of the pieces. Distance is just miles or kilometers or feet or yards by itself. Time are time units by themselves. The biggest thing we need to understand here is that a rate combines distance and time together. And there we are. So the correct answer here is answer choice B. And let's go ahead and move forward to another problem. All right, here we go. Next question. And it reads, x divided by 4 minus 2 equals 3. So we got a little bit of a little bit of traffic going on here, but that's okay. So we have x over 4 minus 2 equals 3. Remember that the same thing rings true for any equation that we're trying to solve. We just want to work backwards from the order of operations. Everyone, if we're working forward, again, pay attention. If we're working forward and I knew what x was, does the order of operations tell us to divide by 4 first or subtract 2? Which one of these happens first with the order of operations? So for those of us that are saying subtraction, it's actually going to be incorrect. It's actually going to be incorrect. And let me just share why. So when we take a look here, let's pretend that we, had a magic number for x. I am just going to throw in, let's just say 100, okay? I'm just going to pretend that I know what x is. So if I just take this over here, duplicate it, and I replace x with 100, everybody take a look. When you have this here, is it true that I would divide by 4 first because the 100 and the 4 are with each other right there. And then I subtract 2. True or false? Let me know. Yeah, absolutely true. If I knew what x was, that's what I mean when I say that, everybody. If I knew what x was, what's the order of operations? And it's division and then subtraction. And remember what I always say. The last step in the order of operations is the first thing you'll take care of. So what does that mean? Let me get this out of the way. The last thing that would have happened was -2. So the first thing I'll take care of is exactly that. +2 on both sides. And take a look at what happens, my friends. It's going to cancel on the left. And we have x over 4 equals 3 plus 2. 3 plus 2, I don't need to ask you that. That's going to be 5. But I will ask you this. Everyone, how do I get the x by itself now? I see that we're dividing by 4 here. Yeah, so we'll do the opposite operation, which would be multiply by 4 on both sides. So that'll look like that here and there. Cancels on the left, leaving me with x equals 20. And there we are, my party people. Booyah, all good. So the correct answer here is answer choice A, and that is 20. All right, so question. It says, what is the ratio of plumbers to electricians? So this question's a pretty interesting one, only because, my party people, when you take a look at the information that's given, is there more than just plumbers and just electricians being mentioned? Is there more than just that? Yeah, there is, right? You see here that we're talking about carpenters as well. So when we read the given information, that can be a little confusing. I'll agree with you. The given information says a construction crew has 24 carpenters, 18 electricians, and 30 plumbers. Given that the goal of the question, everybody, this is why reading the question sentence is so important. Given that the question sentence says we're looking for the ratio of plumbers to electricians, do we necessarily care about the carpenters at this moment in time? No, we don't. We don't really care about them at all. Because again, we want plumbers to electricians. Carpenters are neither of those, and we do already have electricians and plumbers. We already have that. So we have the information we need. All we need to be careful about is writing things in the right order. Check it out. So I want, again, plumbers first, and then electricians second. So let's go ahead and write that out. All right, everybody. So what value represents plumbers? What value represents that? That's going to be 30. Again, don't just read the first number because it's the first word. This is 18 electricians, and this is 30 plumbers. So I'll go ahead and write 30 in place of plumbers. And then what value I'm going to write in place for electricians? Yeah, that'll be 18. So there we go. Our ratio is 30 to 18. The one thing that we have to do here is simplify in the same way that we would simplify a fraction like 30 over 18. What we try to do is divide the same number from the numerator and denominator, the same number from the top and bottom. That way we can get the simplest form. My party people, 30 and 18, what number can go into both 30 and 18? The biggest number that you can think of, the greatest common divisor, that's going to be 6. Absolutely. 3 is one of the divisors, but 6 is the greatest common divisor. And so because of that, we'll go ahead and divide by 6 on both like that, or we can just cut 6 out like this. Either way is fine. And we end up getting a final answer of 5 to 3. Not 3 to 5, 5 to 3. And that's what makes the correct answer. Answer choice B.